This year's Heisman race has to be the worst and most awkward I've seen in college football history. The only race that comes close to being as bad was in 2009, where Mark Ingram won the Heisman over guys that performed better and had better stats than him. Like, how do you win the race over somebody that plays the same position as you but had 200 more yards and 10 more touchdowns than you? I don't know. That 2009 Heisman situation was always kind of weird to me. It just didn't make that much sense. But unlike this year's Heisman race, the 2009 race, even every other year, there were guys that actually stood out and deserved the trophy. Like, when you look at this year's Heisman finalists, especially the QBs, nobody really stands out. I don't think anybody even threw for over 3,500 yards. None of them haven't even thrown for at least 35 touchdowns. Now, are their stats still impressive? Definitely, but are they Heisman worthy? I just don't think so. When you compare these guys' numbers to Joe Burrow's legendary 2019 Heisman season, where he threw for almost 5,700 yards, 60 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions, and going 15-0 with the national championship, this season was just levels above all of these QBs soon to be Heisman season. Or you can compare it to Bryce Young's 2021 Heisman season, where he threw for 4,800 yards, 47 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. And he was the first QB in Alabama history to win the Heisman Trophy. And I say that to say guys like Bryce Young and Joe Burrow set the bar very high for QBs when it comes to winning the Heisman. So it puts these voters in a weird position where they gotta sit there and ask the question, do any of these QBs actually deserve to win the Heisman? Then you got the last finalist, running back Jeremiah Love, who has not only been the best running back in the country, but the most impactful. And in my opinion, he is the most reasonable guy to win the Heisman this year. But when you look at his stats compared to a guy like Ashton Jeanty, who was just a Heisman finalist last year, you'll see that Ashton rushed for 1,200 more yards and 11 more touchdowns and still didn't win the Heisman, and that is a major difference. Now, granted, Ashton Jeanty did have like 200 plus more carries than Jeremiah Love, but do they even look at specific carry numbers when it comes to winning the Heisman? And even though Ashton Jeanty was close, the last running back to win a Heisman was Derrick Henry in 2015, and he was also very dominant that season. By the time he won the Heisman, he rushed for almost 2K yards, 23 touchdowns on almost 340 carries. But if we're looking at stats and previous Heisman winning running backs or candidates, Jeremiah Love doesn't really look like a Heisman winner. And I understand this trophy is supposed to go to the best player in college football from that season, but if you compare this season to other seasons, none of these guys really look like Heisman winners this season. Like, I wanted to see somebody throw for 6K yards like Joe Burrow, or rush for almost 3K yards like Ashton Jeanty did, and he still didn't win the Heisman. All in all, the whole Heisman situation this year is kind of weird, and nobody looks like a clear-cut winner.